Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third HotShot episode entitled It's Hot to Be Good. Joining me today is Armando Samayoa. He's the representative of Télécoms Sans Frontières in Latin America and the Caribbean. Armando, bienvenido al hot seat.
Gracias.
So, Armando, being the representative in the Latin American and Caribbean region, it must be both a really exciting and challenging job, I would imagine. But to get us started, maybe you can share a bit about the TSF organization in the region, where you're working, what type of project you're presently delivering.
Hi, Isabel. Yes, thank you very much for having me, and hello to your audience. So the regional base was established in 2003 in Nicaragua, and then moved to Mexico in 2016. And its main goal is to be near to emergency-prone zones where international relief assistance might be required, as it is the Latin America and the Caribbean zone. And being able to deploy as fast as possible. So in a very short time after an event occurred. And at the same time, we are able to deploy information and communication based projects or missions to respond to complex and protracted humanitarian crisis in Mexico, but also in the whole region. In this sense, we are currently implementing an information diffusion mission that is called Informative Screens. And it aims to bring vulnerable migrants in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and Colombia essential information that helps them to protect themselves and take informed decisions. So the screens are installed in the support centers and migrant shelters along the migratory routes and project information coming from several trusted sources, such as international NGOs, UN agencies, research institutions, governmental instances, cyber protection units, also the media, etc.
With all this comes, I'm sure, multiple challenges to deliver humanitarian support in the Americas, in probably sometimes dangerous locations and unstable locations. So maybe you can talk to us a bit about what are these challenges and how can you or how have you been addressing them so far?
Yes, so it is a complicated terrain, geographically itself. So many countries in the continent are very extended in territory, and most vulnerable communities tend to live in remote areas, and this complicates access to those communities. And at the same time, in the Caribbean, for example, there are many countries and territories composed by small islands. Sometimes one storm can affect different locations, and it makes it very complicated to get to those zones. Sometimes it's not even possible to reach one island due to bad weather or damages in the infrastructure, for example. And also security, it's a challenge in some regions of the continent, and this also complicated access to affected populations. We cannot go by ourselves to some areas. So what we have done to address these kind of challenges is trying to remain as flexible as possible and very attentive to an every changing context. For relief missions, so short-term missions and fast operations, we try to compose light loaded teams because it is very practical and efficient to provide support in the first days of the response. Um, Communications are very appreciated in these first days, and we can easily bring the support to first responders in the field in the most affected areas. So in retribution, the responders, governmental or non-governmental responders, grant us with security and transportations to those zones. In many cases, it's done by helicopter because it's the only way to get there. And this also allows us to perform independent operations in this area, supporting affected populations um, on site very quickly with communication services. Another very important measure it's networking and preparation and training. So it helped us not only to be prepared, but also to identify other actors and establish relationships. And when we see them on the field, we can exchange information and assets also during a mission, and it helps us to perform better.
Finally, the last question, last but not least, is we are in 2021, but sadly we still talk about the pandemic every day. So how has the pandemic impacted the way you deliver, your help or your support in the region, and what were the lessons learned?
Yes, so for emergency response, it has complicated deployments quite a big deal. We had to be constantly monitoring travel restrictions country by country in order to be prepared in case of a deployment, because every country was establishing their own regulations. For example, when ETA and IOTA storms impacted the Honduran territory, the departure of the team took an extra day, and these 24 hours are crucial. So it wasn't as fast as we wanted to be. And we had to take a negative or to show a negative PCR tests of no more than 72 hours of validity. So it complicated even the deployment. One important lesson that we've learned is that technologies have a big role to play in terms of protection and communication and information provision as aid. For instance, the informative screens um, are a good model, and it has to and it was proved effective and quickly adaptable as well, which was very important when the pandemic got to Mexico. We were able to very quickly adapt the system and diffuse information about the pandemic, the risks, the prevention measures, etc. So it's a very good way to inform affected communities in a very short time without having to go to the places ourselves. And it opened the doors for some for the creations of some alliances that we are now capitalizing in 2021.
Okay. Wow. I mean, it can only imagine the challenges. You have to be super flexible, always ready for any eventualities, and changing your plans almost on a minute by minute basis. It's, as I said, it's both exciting but very challenging. So I'm sure only special people are able to deliver such projects. So Armando, thank you so much for this great interview and for giving us a glimpse into the Télécoms Sans Frontières organization in the Americas. It's always inspiring to see good come out of technology to help people in need. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Isabel. You too. Thank you for your time and for the work you do.
So, for those of you who want to help, please visit the Télécoms Sans Frontières website at www.tsfi.org. And as the episode is entitled Doing Good is Hot, Télécoms Sans Frontières is definitely hot. Everyone, thank you for watching, and until the next hot shot.